Hi there, my name is Miss Boys and I'm one of the assistant heads at St Mark's School. Today I'm going to talk to you about literacy and about how you can hopefully support your child with some home learning strategies as well. So one of the things that you may have noticed over the last couple of years is these literacy codes have started to appear in books, and teachers may well have been using them when they've been marking longer pieces of writing as part of home learning. Now these codes we have input across the school, because really what we want to do is make sure students are aware of the importance of literacy, in particular thinking of GCSE because of the weighting of literacy in writing tasks, but also thinking about beyond there and the importance of proofreading when they get into the workplace and the things that they might have to do. All subjects will use these codes, primarily English, but every single other subject will also be using these codes. And one of the things that students are expected to do is to go back and where they find these codes, make corrections. It could be that they have used a full stop or a capital letter incorrectly. It might be that there is some missing punctuation or a lack of paragraphs. It could be that they keep changing between past and present tense, and which means the writing doesn't really make sense, or that there were incorrect spellings. The new one is the double question mark, which we are now using for things like slightly awkward phrasing, or where students might not have used the right words in the right context. So one of the things that we'd really ask you to do is to help us by getting your child to go back through their writing, and where they see these codes, making sure that they are making corrections. So home learning is really difficult, and we absolutely appreciate how hard it must be for you as well, where you might be trying to work from home whilst also supporting your child. So we really appreciate all of the work that you are doing. One of the biggest ways that we can help the children is to be positive and to be encouraging. Now, they're not always going to get it, and it's not always going to be right, and it's not always going to be easy, but the more we encourage them to be working and to be joining live lessons and doing the things that we're doing, the more likely it is that they will join them. It's also worth finding some time during the day, and whether that's during an allocated break that you're putting into place or at some point after school hours, where students can do something that they really enjoy. Whether they're someone who loves cooking and baking, someone who's into arts and crafts or music, it's taking some time to really foster those passions and give them a break from the screen. Likewise, exercise is a hugely important part of the day. Taking some time to go outside and go for a walk or a bike ride, using one of the home workouts like the Body Coach. Exercise releases endorphins, which make us feel happier and more positive. In fact, if we do this first thing in the morning, it might mean that we're more able to sit and do some of the work in front of the screen that we need to do during the day. I'd also urge you to try and find some time to sit together as a family, whether that be during a meal time, in the evening at some point, and ask questions about the day. Ask about things that your child has been learning. Ask about the things that they found interesting during the day, or something that they might have learnt that was brand new to them. The more you're talking to them about those things that they're doing in school, the more likely it is that they'll have to practice those recall skills, which are really vital for later on. It's worth looking at the timetable, and especially with some of the changes that we've put in place starting on Monday the 1st of February. Having a look and planning out their day, and I know that some of you have already spoken to teachers about how you're doing with this with your child already. But planning out the day, including things like when they're going to have break times, when they might go outside for exercise, etc. When they might want to do some things that are a bit more fun than maybe sitting and doing their schoolwork. But those things will help give the day a little bit more structure. Now the big thing here is, it doesn't matter if you're not sticking to it 100%. Having some sort of structure and timetable is really important, but there's also the importance of flexibility, making sure that we're all okay and that we are able to step away from those things when it's getting a bit too much. Communication is another huge thing, not just communication with your child, but with us at school as well. We appreciate that at times it's really difficult and that some students might fall behind, but the more you're talking to us and letting us know these things, the more we're able to do to help you. It's also really important because mental health is such a big deal, and the students are going to find it difficult because they're not at school with their peers and with their friends. They don't have their teacher right there that they can ask straight away, and sometimes, as much as we're trying to get through all of the questions that we receive during a lesson time, sometimes we might be a little bit slower with that than we would be if someone had a hand up in the classroom. So allow your child some time to talk to you as well, and we are here if they need to talk, as well as our pastoral team who are on hand to be able to speak to the children as well. Staying positive, which at times is really difficult. And the curriculum has changed quite a lot in between when you were probably at school, when I was at school, and the learning that's going on now. So it's okay if you get frustrated or things don't really make sense. But trying to remain positive, knowing that there is a solution to any problem that comes up, is a really big step in making sure that your child feels positive about home learning. Now this one I think is a really big one, even for members of staff. And that's rather than getting up and spending the day in your pyjamas or comfy clothes, is to do things like wake up and have your same morning routine. Get out of bed, have a shower, get yourself dressed, have some breakfast, and then go to your workspace and sit and work. If you get up and you get dressed in the morning, you're more likely to be focused and you're more likely to have that attitude to learning that you would normally do. Now, we're not suggesting that children need to get up and put their school uniform on, but something other than pyjamas or loungewear might be helpful. I wouldn't be an English teacher without talking about the importance of reading. And again, you may have seen assemblies that I've done in the past about the importance of this and how helpful and beneficial reading can be. But at the moment, reading is a huge thing in terms of giving time to relax, to rest, and a bit of respite from the screen itself as well. Whilst students might not have access to books at home, there are free online resources, which sort of defeats the point in terms of the lack of screen time. But there are a huge amount of resources. If you look at the Oak National Library, there is a vast selection of books that students can access there. But taking time to read every day, especially for students in Key Stage 3, they should be reading for 20 minutes every day as part of the Accelerated Reader programme. Those students are also being set a 50-minute reading lesson once a fortnight, like they would normally have in school. So the more you can encourage your child to read, the better it will be. It's also worth looking at the space that the children are working in. Is it a space that is organised and free from clutter? Do they have everything they need and are they set up and organised in the morning? Whilst I'd love to say that my workspace at home looks something like these beautiful picturesque areas, it's not quite the same. But I have made myself a workspace and that helps me be focused during the day. I'd also try and get them away from sitting in their bed and doing their work on a computer, and possibly even, if you have the space, remove them from their bedroom entirely so that they have their rest space and they have their workspace, and they're two different areas. Sometimes just moving to a different room is all it takes to have a different attitude to the work that you're doing. The final thing I want to say is that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to need help and it's okay to ask for that. And that's what we're here for. So please do reach out if you feel that you are struggling with anything at home, whether you are a student or whether you are a parent. We are here and we are on hand if you need anything. I hope that these have been useful. Thank you for your time.